and I agree with you, what you said about Nigeria's agriculture, about the foreign influence on it. Agriculture is under attack all over the world today in order to, like as a Malthusian population control method. And in England at the moment, the Labour government's attacking agriculture through taxes. And that's happening in Australia as well. So that when the owners of a farm die, they can't hand the farm on to their children because the taxes are so high. They have to sell the farm and go and live in a city somewhere in a ghetto, in a small little flat. Families have been losing farms in Australia for decades. I've been watching it because my wife is coming from a rural area of farms, and big corporations are buying up farms. Families are moving out. Some dear friends of ours were defarmed a few years back, could no longer afford to farm or hand it on to their children. And this is done lots of ways, by increasing the price of water for irrigation, stopping trade with other countries for your products, all sorts of methods they have to put families out of farming business and to decrease the population of families in rural regions. This is deliberate. All through Europe now, they're closing down farms. You've seen demonstrations in Paris, in Holland, in Germany, in Britain, so many, and other countries, so many tractors. They drive their tractors into the capital and block the road, farmers in demonstrations. They're saying that farms are against the climate. They're going to destroy the world with climate change. So they have to shut down the farms. So they're bringing down agriculture. Now, the thing that will save the climate, and I can say that Nigeria is in nowhere overpopulated, nowhere near it. We have, and they put it on television. If you watch the Geographical Discovery Channel on television here, get by satellite, Discovery Channel, Nature Channel, they put on TV these advertisements where trees are being cut down or burnt in Nigeria. And you get this lady who goes across and she's touching the top of a tree trunk. The tree's been cut down and been burnt, and it's only the tree trunk. She's touching the tree trunk like it's a child and crying. Don't mind all the hundreds of millions of people dying in poverty. It's the tree. And the reason trees are being burnt down, used for firewood, is because they have made natural gas too expensive. I listened to a video about this yesterday from one of the world's leading economists that said that America, back in Nixon and Kissinger's day in the 1970s, quadrupled the price of oil because oil was being sold in American dollars. And that would bring more American dollars into the American economy. That's why the price of oil went up in the 1970s 400%. It's all about making more American dollars for the American economy. And Saudi Arabia didn't want to do this as the main sellers of oil. They said, what about the poor people? They won't be able to afford oil, gasoline for their cars. And Kissinger said, well, don't mind the poor people. Who are they? What's that got to do with anything? Nigeria, we have our own gas here. That's some of the best gas in the world, extremely cheap. But these foreign cartels, like through these global agreements, like I said with Kissinger, have increased the price of gas so much now through the International Monetary Fund, Nigerian people can't afford it. So they've got to cut down firewood. And that's what's destroying the environment. Natural gas will not destroy it. Petroleum products will not destroy it. It's the fact that they make these things unaffordable to the local person by increasing the price globally. That's what's destroying our environment. So if Nigeria prospers, takes sovereignty back over its industry and over its banks and finances and development and resources, and prospers, like if we had one nuclear power station in this country, we could pump up the artesian water underneath the north of this nation. So prosperity helps the environment. It's poverty that destroys the environment. We cut firewood. We cannot rebuild and restore land anymore. We cannot provide water. Prosperity restores an environment. What Malthusianism says is that the environment is so degraded, we've got to remove mankind from the environment. We've talked about this in another video. Man is destroying the environment. So we have to put man inside cities and take him away from farms and from these places and produce a food crisis to save the environment. That's a completely Malthusian lie. The Malthusianism here is so obvious. It's unbelievable that people aren't waking up to this, because it's just so untrue. When you get prosperity in a nation that man develops through image of God, inventiveness, positivity, abundance, sort of environment that God has given to mankind, when mankind begins to operate on that level and not an eschatological apocalyptic level, then we begin to produce abundance and environmental restoration and the restoration of the poor. This is about bringing justice to the poor, hundreds of millions of them. And it's all about Malthusianism. You've got to destroy Malthusianism, bring back a God-fearing economy, and then you'll restore the poor and you'll restore our nations, and you'll stop wars, because wars are about Malthusianism. And you will stop, not entirely, but to a large extent, you will stop wars, and you will stop environmental degradation. These are the facts of the matter. I didn't say it's easy, but this is the right road to be traveling on.